You may lose skin texture while lightening your portrait or when retouching your image in Photoshop. Today I'm going to show you guys how you can create natural looking skin texture in Photoshop. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. So to start, we are going to create an empty layer and then we can name it to texture, and then we go ahead to edit and then we go to fill and then we fill with 50% gray, and then the mode the blending mode should stay normal, opacity 100, and then preserve transparency remain unchecked, and then we click OK. And then we can go ahead and change the blend mode here to overlay. So let's check where is our overlay. All right, here is our overlay. And then the next thing we are going to do is we are going to convert the layer to smart object. Why? Because in when we are editing the image, we can come back to the layer and make adjustments on the effect we apply on the layer. So we are going to right click on the layer and then we convert the layer to smart object. So the next thing, we are going to add some noise to our texture layer here. So we are going to make sure we are selecting the texture layer, then we go over to our filter and then we select camera raw filter, and then on our camera raw filter we are going to head over and select the effects tab here, and then we increase the amount of grain that will fix the skin texture we are working on. So I basically leave it around between 50 to 80 depending on the skin. So whatever settings we apply here, don't forget we have made our texture layer a smart object, so you can come over and adjust it at any time. So for now, let's keep it 80, and then the size of the grain we can keep it at 80 as well, because her skin texture is really obvious. Let me even keep it 100, and then for the roughness, I think I'm going to keep it somewhere around 70, and then we hit OK. All right, here we are. But notice the nose we added to the texture layer is kind of looking flat. It's not looking like skin texture at all. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to go over to our filter again, and then we go over to stylize, and then we add emboss. So for the emboss, I usually move the angle to the direction of where my light is coming from. So for this image, my light is coming from this angle by the top right hand side, so I'm going to move my angle to somewhere around 45 degree, and then for the height I usually leave it at 2, and then for the amount we are going to increase. Okay, let's keep it somewhere around 150, and don't forget we can come over and adjust it at any time. So let's keep it at 150 for now and see, and then we hit OK. All right, notice after we add emboss on the texture layer, the nose is looking more like skin, because it's kind of looking more dimensional, looking more like a 3D of a thing, because if you do before and after, you can see it's looking more like skin texture. And don't forget you can always come over to the emboss layer here and double click, and you can also play around with the angle again, the height and the amount. Also you can double click on the camera raw filter here and go back to your effects layer and play around with your grain until the skin texture you created is looking like your skin texture, like the skin texture of your model. So the next thing you are going to do for the skin texture to look even more realistic is just to add just a little Gaussian blur to the skin texture, as into the texture layer. So we are going to go over to our filter and then we select blur, and then we go over and click on Gaussian blur. So for Gaussian blur, we are just going to add just a little a radius on it, just maybe 1.0 would be okay, and then we hit OK. So after we fully created our realistic skin texture, what we don't want is the skin texture to be visible on areas like the lips, like the eyes, and the other areas where we don't have issues with skin texture. We are only going to allow the skin texture to be visible on the areas where we are having issues with skin texture. I mean the areas where we want to fix the skin texture around. So the next thing we are going to do is just to go over and select our layer mask here. So if we click, notice it created a white mask in front of our texture icon here. It means everything that we did on the texture layer, like making it smart object, Gaussian blur, the emboss, and then the noise we added from the camera raw filter, is visible, is currently visible. So for us to hide it, we are just going to make sure we are selecting the white layer mask here, and then we press Command or Control I to invert and hide the effect. Notice the effect is hidden now. So now looking at the image you want to fix, looking at our image over here, for us to fix this skin texture we are having error is looking at this image. Around this area, like, we lost some skin texture while doing frequency suppression. And then looking at the top of the noise, as you can see, I think it's because of lack of focus over the nose here. As you can see, we lose some level of texture around the nose. So for us to fix the area, all we need to do is just to go over and select our normal brush, and then we reduce the flow to somewhere around 30, and then we go over and brush over the areas where we want to fix the skin texture. So starting from the nose, we are just going to brush over the nose. As you can see, we are creating realistic skin texture around the nose, and then as well this side of the nose. And then looking at this area as well that we lose texture while doing frequency suppression, you can just brush over the area, and then boom, here we are having a realistic skin texture around the area. And then looking at this area as well, we can brush over and create some skin texture. So if you do before and after, you can really see realistic skin texture on the nose. Let me zoom in. So if we do before and after, you can clearly see we have made a huge difference around the area. Looking at areas around the eyes, you can as well select our normal brush, and then we create more texture around the area. And then looking at this side, we can also brush and have some skin texture around the area. And then if it is too much, don't forget you can always play with your opacity and make it look more natural so that it won't be too much. So always try and keep your image around the natural level. All right, so that's it for today. If you like the video, please don't forget to subscribe and leave a thumbs up, and then also don't forget to turn on post notifications so that you won't miss any of my new content. Let's see in another video.